Okay.
PMP 198 is with us. Mr. Naveen, he joined us actually in the batch 7 and he cleared PMP in like 16 to 17 days. So, Naveen, first of all, congratulations for this super speed and what a way you did it. So Naveen is a combined student 1-to-1 as well as best student. So he worked it in a both way. So now this is the privilege. Actually, he came like 2-3 days before the best started as my 1-to-1 student. He said that I also want to get to the classes. And as a privilege of 1-to-1 student, you get everything. He got that. And he cleared before than every of all of students. And how he did it, he really worked very hard. Some days we had a very hard schedule, but he kept on moving, he kept on doing them, and finally we have here a certified PMP. So Naveen, why don't you share your journey? It's your journey. Please go ahead, share it.
Yeah, sure, sir. First of all, I really thank you for everything. Actually, you supported each and every step. Thank you so much. I want to express that from bottom of my heart. Actually, very grateful for your all your exercises and everything. Thank you so much. So first of all, I started like this actually. So I put a date first actually before I talk to you. I set up a date for my exam.
Mm-hmm.
But at some point, I felt like whatever I'm doing, it's not enough to get to this exam. So luckily, I saw your YouTube videos and I saw that you're willing to help to anybody. So I just reached you. That's it. Like one day, I just instead of messaging you, I just called you.
Mm-hmm.
So then and there itself, you said, "Okay, let's work together." So that's where I got the big boost actually. So how to prepare for this exam, and I just followed your steps. That's it. Like each and everything, I just followed what you just said to me. So no questions asked. That's it. Just followed your um, process and plan. That's it.
Yeah, so everything worked out finally, and we got the thing that we have been working. So you have been very consistent throughout the journey. It was not like it was not to say it was not even a single day. It was there were 2 to 3 days in which you got a little bit sick. Apart from that, every single day you studied, right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
How many?
Every single exam, every single exercise you gave, that was my first target. Like I have to finish this to report you tomorrow morning. So that's what's my target actually. Because without finishing my exercise, I'm not comfortable talking to you next day. So I wanted to make that happen. But
Yeah.
I agree with you. Actually, for a few days, I lost because of my sickness, and then at the same time, it was pretty hard to catch up with my work and working on your exercises.
Mm. Okay, so where do you basically live? Why don't you tell us something, some background of you? I would love to know where you from, where you are living, and where everything. Please.
Yeah, sure. I'm originally from Hyderabad, India, South
Mm,
India. I moved to US in 2007 for
mm,
doing my master's, and since then I'm working here as a mechanical engineer. So now I'm a engineering supervisor role in my company, lead engineering supervisor. So I have a team, so I need to lead them. So I thought like at some point I have a good technical background, but I didn't have a good management background. So I thought of doing this project management so that I understand this framework. So that helped me and that's driven me to get into this direction. But I'm
mm,
originally from Houston. I live in Houston, Texas. So since 2012, I'm living in Houston, Texas.
mm. I want to share one more thing with everyone. Now they are a powerful couple. He's not only the certified PMP in the house, his wife is also certified PMP. And I'm very, is it or not?
Yes, yes. Actually, sir, let me tell you this some background story about this. Actually, my wife was started preparing a PMP in December.
Mm,
So at the time, she was preparing with multiple information, and she's the one who told her to me actually about you. So she saw your YouTube videos and she followed all your journeys, and she introduced you to me through YouTube.
mm.
So she even wrote an email to you once. She was not your student, but she followed your journeys, and she sent an email to you or a message to you actually saying that all your videos were helpful for her journey of
Yeah.
becoming a PMP.
So I'm
So
happy that Okay, for her the journey helped, for you I helped. And now you can say also, and let me put one thing more in the context. I told you also this thing yesterday. Now PMP is more difficult, so you gave harder PMP as compared to your wife. So that was an interesting thing. Okay, let's move forward and let's discuss how these things are, how we can put into the context. So what do you think? Like, walk us through the PMP exam. How did you manage each and everything, please?
Okay. Shall I explain? Okay, I entered the examination hall. So I think the good part is I followed your 10 minutes or 7 minutes like a video just to see how the software works. So I used that time for me to take a deep breath. Actually, that helped me. I don't want to skip that exercise. That helped me a lot to prepare into the zone. So I followed your last minute preparation tools, actually, like how to prepare, how to get into the exam zone, everything. So that helped me a lot. And then I took a breaks. I took 10 minutes breaks compulsory, and I took water and I took chocolate, everything that's good. And the exam, it started, right? So it started, like, I started very slow, to be honest. Actually, first 60 questions, it took me, I think, at least 80 minutes to finish, 80 to 85 minutes, I think. Instead of, I think I passed 5 more minutes, actually. So your set goal was 75 to 80, but I passed actually 85 first 60 questions. I don't know, but then later on I felt like I think I need to cope up really fast. So the second phase, I took a break and I came back, and I did the second phase really fast compared to the first one. I think almost I prepared like I think 70 minutes I finished it, the second one. But
Mhm.
still I need to cope up with 5 to 10 more minutes. So I know there was going to be a deficient in the last section. So the last 10, like, I think at least 5 questions, I was really, really rushed. Like five to 10 questions, I think I was really rushed. I didn't have time at all. The last 10 questions. So I was really, really fast. The last 10 questions, but I think 5 questions I did well. Out of last 10, but the last five was I just didn't even look at the options.
Okay,
So
so that thing that I always says, uh, you need to complete the question. So that really helped, right?
yes, that's a good point you told me. Actually, I put each and every single answer at the end of the day. So
So you put every single answer there, so that actually becomes a important thing when you are doing the questions, that you make those things in the context. Okay, let's talk about how many drags and drop,
five to six, drag and drop.
and were they straightforward or were they hard?
They were a little hard, actually. They were not very exact definitions. They were like little different definitions, actually. So they were not straightforward. So one I think, yeah, they are not straightforward. They are little tricky to answer it.
Okay, they are little. Why would you say that?
Because we read the definitions in one format. So we follow some kind of terminology when we read the definitions, right? So
Mm-hmm.
the same terminology, but it's a different verbiage in it. So you need to understand that verbiage in that sentence when you drag and drop it.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the only difference I saw. That's all.
Mm-hmm.
So if you understand the definition, it's good. You understand the context, but the verbiage is going to be changing. So you need to understand the meaning of the verbiage in that sentence when you drag and
Mm-hmm.
drop the options.
Okay, okay. So drags and drop was hard. Apart from that, how many question with multiple option?
I got five, sir. 5 to 6, I think. Even I got more. I felt like more multiple choice answers, actually. So I think I would say at least 5 to 6.
Okay, 5 to 6, you would say.
But those were very, very straightforward. I feel the very straightforward answers.
Okay, okay. So if we put in the context, like, okay, and one fill in the blanks, as you were saying,
Yes, one fill up the blank. It's just need to type the option there. That's it. And it was very easy question. That was
that was an easy question. Okay,
very easy question.
which area was mostly targeted in the exam?
People
So
people was mostly targeted.
people was the most predominant area in your exam. You would say that, okay? People, process. Okay, so people, stakeholder communication, that was the most important thing. right? Okay, how about
Yes,
hybrid?
yeah.
What do you say about the hybrid area?
I got few lot of hybrid questions also. So
Hybrid
every
question.
question was hybrid actually. Like apart from agile questions, every other question was hybrid. So there was no predictive questions at all in the exam.
Hmm.
So
So
everything was hybrid.
everything was hybrid. So let's put this in a context. Number one thing was team, stakeholder communication. Then you would say agile. Yeah, that's what you if you categorize the entire thing. That's how you categorize it.
Actually, agile and team people were combined. That's what I felt like. All the agile questions are included the people format also in it.
Mm, okay,
So the so agile questions combined with people is the combination actually for the people's question.
okay. So agile question with the okay. What else was important in the exam if you put it in this context?
Business is important. I felt business was important. I got a lot of business questions
How
as
many
well.
compliance questions you got also above target in compliance?
Yes, that's the one I got it actually. Yeah, I would. I don't know. I think at least 10 to 12 questions on compliance I got.
Hmm. So
So there are a
10.
lot on business actually. Yeah, business they got like compliance questions. So even the one drag and drop came on compliance.
Hmm. So
Whole drag and drop.
the material we covered, the material we covered was enough for the exam.
Yes, yes. I would
Anything,
say yes, sir.
anything that was not in our material.
Um, I only see. I think more drag and drop. Try to practice
That
more.
is that is there now. We have an entire coaching call.
Yeah, yeah,
For
yeah.
coaching. So that
No,
is
no,
there.
there is nothing else, sir. Every other topic you covered actually. There is nothing came out of the topics you didn't
I
cover.
always wanted to know this thing. Okay, so let's say about this thing. What about risk, quality, procurement? How much that was in the exam?
The risk came a lot. In fact, one drag and drop came on risk.
Hmm.
Um,
That's an
so risk.
interesting thing. Chimze shared his journey. I recorded his journey, and in his journey there was no actually questions on risk. And your a lot of question of risk. This means PMP is actually covering every single thing that is in the context of PMP. Okay, that's a beautiful thing. Okay, let's talk a little bit more about on this thing. Okay, so what about SPI, CPI, and critical path method?
Only one question I got. That's also very simple question I got. No calculations. I didn't get one single calculation question, and only one CPI and SPI question I got.
Okay, so okay, that's an interesting thing. Okay, SPI, CPI, no critical path. Okay, compliance is there. Yeah. So time management was the important thing that you did. Now let's talk about you did the first questions I gave you 200 agile question. How important those questions were for what do you say?
Those were that gave me a nice idea about agile actually. So there is no confusion on agile anymore. Once I finished the 200 questions and reviewed the lesson learns, there was no single ambiguity in my mind about agile. Actually, everything was super clear about agile. So no
Mm.
confusions about agile. That helped a lot. That 200 questions.
That 2200 questions helped you a lot and worked into that particular context. Okay, that's also an interesting thing and put into the context. What about PMI ATP questions? Were they important or no?
PM,
PMI ATP,
I didn't
yeah,
see any of those.
you
Yeah,
mean
any of those
the
questions.
ones we were doing in the coaching calls whenever you were coming, and yeah, those questions.
So I didn't see much questions like that, sir. To be
Mm.
honest, actually, so I didn't see those kind of questions at all.
Okay, what about our six mocks and people and process and full mocks? How relevant are they for the exam?
Those were very close, actually. Like all context was very similar, actually.
Content.
So those mocks are very helpful to prepare the mindset.
And what about the last day call? The call we had last night.
That was brilliant. That was the brilliant. That was like a nice dessert at the end of a nice meal. Like
Uh-huh.
that was the fantastic. Actually, I got whole confidence in me. The one which you are just showing confidence in me that helped me a lot. Actually, so
Okay. So that's a beautiful thing that you shared. Okay. So we have covered everything. You were talking about that the exam question being more lengthy. Like, can you share that thing? The length of the questions. How many length questions were? What was the length of the questions?
Like most, I would say like not so many, but I would say 20 questions out of 180. 20 questions were like super big, lengthy. But most of them were like all three liners, but 20 to I think 20, I think they were really big. So initially, if it comes in the first 60 question, first 60, right? So people try to use more time on those. So I would suggest try to minimize time on that first big questions in the first 60 minutes, because that's where I use most of my time. So that was my mistake actually. So it took me more time to figure out those answers in the first 60 questions.
Okay, okay, okay. Thank you very much for your time. You just came out of giving the exam and we started recording the journey. Okay, Naveen, your final advice to PMP aspirant. I'm putting you as the main person and removing myself. Please, your advice.
Thank you, sir. Just follow sir's advice and just follow all the exercises. Be committed to exercises what sir told, and try to do lesson learns. Actually, lesson learns are the key. Every single exercise we do, we'll try to do the lesson learns and try to understand what context the you have an issue. Why didn't you put a right answer to that particular question? So try to understand that the reason for that question and try to understand the logic behind the answer during the lesson learns. So lesson learns is the key, and do as many questions as possible before the exam. So that way you'll understand whole different kind of questions. Everything you'll be prepared mentally. The other one is set a date and prepare the exam. So that's the next thing. That's the third part actually. That's the beauty actually. If you don't set up a date, then we don't know where we are going. I think set a date and make a rule of thumb and rule of things what to do, and follow sir's advice and all the exams. I think everybody will clear the exam.
Thank you very much. Now, come a very important thing that I always say: each one teach one. You are the first one in batch 7. There are 25 more people. So I will hope that you can guide them, you can coach them, you can be their servant leader, you can be someone as a charismatic leader showing them the pathway to the entire way. Many students, Salman, Amadia, Aslam, Farhan, uh, Shah Faisal, they are very motivated people. They are coming behind you. So I hope you can help them, you can facilitate them. And then we have a lot of PMP aspirant students group. You can help them. And of course, and whatever way you can give to the community, always give that. With
Absolutely.
that, thank you, Naveen. Thank you very much for joining.
Thank you, sir. I'll be happy to help everybody, sir. Please, I'll be happy to reach everybody, and everybody can reach me. And if I can help, I'll be very grateful to do that. Thank you.
Thank you.